So, how do you not be depressed? Well, I'm just going to give you the TLDR right now. You've also probably read it in the title. It's your fault. The reason why you're depressed is because of your actions. So, it's your fault. I remember a couple of years ago, I used to feel the exact same way. I used to feel depressed. I used to feel like there was no purpose in life. I used to feel like just absolutely terrible because the only thing that I had that actually gave me a purpose, like I guess you could say, was just video games. Like this is my daily routine. I would wake up, have a shit, fap, maybe a couple times. If I wouldn't do it then, I would eat breakfast, play video games, and then fap a couple times. And I would just play games for the whole day and then go to bed after playing games for the whole day and also basically a lot of the night. So think about this, right? Like you wake up, you take a shit, you basically just fap. You eat like a shit breakfast full of like seed oils and processed sugars or whatever the fuck. You play games for the whole day, literally, I swear to God, the whole day. And also a certain portion of the night. So you're going to bed at like 1, 2, 3 a.m. and waking up at like, what, fucking 12 p.m., 1 p.m. Do you really think like that guy, like if you can imagine that guy, like younger me, do you really think younger me was gonna have like good mental health? Yeah, probably not, right? Definitely not. He was definitely not gonna have good mental health. Now, of course, you know, there was other stuff going on at home at then, but that's a topic for a separate video. But even so, I still deserve to have shit mental health. I deserve to have shit mental health. Younger me, he deserved to have shit mental health. Why? Because you deserve the consequences of your actions. Whatever actions that you take, you deserve the consequences. And so if you're depressed right now, you need to start taking some responsibility and be like, okay, the reason why I'm depressed is not because of genetics. Yeah, you know, genetics do play a part. Genetics play a part in everything. But again, it's not an excuse. Yeah, of course, like genetics, like they play a part in like whether or not like you're depressed. And like, oh yeah, but you know, but bro, but my brain doesn't produce as much serotonin as other people. So actually, no, no. Yeah, genetics do play a part. Yeah, fine. They're not an excuse though. They're not an excuse. Maybe you were a little bit more prone to feeling depressed. Fine. But that predisposition does not have to be activated. And it is activated by the things that you do and the choices that you make. And so if you make shit choices, if you don't sleep well, if you don't go outside, if you don't talk to people, if you don't have social connection, if you don't exercise, of course you're gonna feel fucking depressed. That's like the bare minimum to feel good. The bare minimum. Like you want to feel like 10 times happier, I promise you. Go outside, drink water. Like don't drink fucking like diet soda or some other bullshit. Drink water. Eat like good foods. Eat single ingredient foods. Don't eat fucking cereal or fucking donuts or whatever the fuck. Eat good foods. Exercise. Go outside for a walk. Go do a weightlifting workout. Go for a run. Like just be active. What else? Social connection. Go out and like actually talk to someone and have like a good like intelligent conversation with them. Even if it's as like just as simple as walking up to somebody and giving them a fist bump. That's it. Just walk up to somebody, give them a fist bump. You're gonna feel like 10 times better once you do that. That's like the bare minimum to be happy. If, like I swear, you do those things, you're gonna be happy. You do those things, I swear to God, you're gonna be 10 times happier. The reason why you're depressed, the reason why you're anxious, the reason why you have shit mental health is because it's your fault, is because you took the actions to get there. Because you are your actions. The actions that you take determine who you become. And so if you take the actions of a depressed person, if you just lay in bed for the whole day, or maybe you even don't sleep at all, if you don't exercise, you eat shit food, you don't even drink fucking water because oh yeah, it tastes weird. Like what? Like I'm sorry to say, like some of these people, they're so just like autistic that they can't even just drink regular water. Just drink water, dude. Like it's fine. Like I swear, I'm sorry to say this, but these people, they legitimately think Like they take the actions that resulted them in becoming depressed. They don't eat good food. They don't drink water. They play video games all day. They don't exercise. They don't talk to people. They don't even look at the sun, dude. They don't even look outside their window. And they're wondering to themselves, oh yeah, why do I feel depressed? Oh yeah, why do I feel anxious? It's because you're living like a fucking bum, dude. You're living like a fucking like an idiot. Of course you're gonna feel depressed. Of course you're gonna feel shit and anxious. Of course you're gonna feel this way. Why? Because you took those actions. You took the actions of a depressed person. So if you start to take the actions of a healthy person, you start going to the gym, you start improving your mental health, you start meditating, you start eating good foods, you start going outside, you start hanging out with friends, your mental health will go, I swear, from 0 to 1. That's a huge increase. Because here's the thing, this is exactly how depression works. This right here, this is your baseline. This is your baseline of dopamine. Dopamine's kind of like this feel-good chemical. It dictates how good you feel. Like it's the pleasure hormone, basically. When we do something, when we do an instant gratification activity, for example, when we eat that slice of cake, what happens is, this is your baseline. Your dopamine goes like this. It goes up a little bit because that eating that cake tastes good, doesn't it? When you fap 3 times, like, yeah, it feels good, doesn't it? When you play video games for a couple hours, it feels good, doesn't it? All those activities, they feel good. And so you get this nice rise, right? Then what happens? What happens every time you put a slice of cake in your mouth? What happens? You swallow it, and then how do you feel? You feel like shit, don't you? What happens every time after you fap? You feel terrible, don't you? You feel like absolute dog shit. Because quite frankly, you deserve to, because you took those actions. How do you feel after you play video games? How do you feel after that 4-hour gaming session? For some people, that's not even that long. Like 4 hours, like I'm gonna be completely honest with you, 4 hours for me was not even like a lot of time. How do you feel after that? You feel terrible. You feel horrible, don't you? And so what happens is you get this nice rise and then it stops. It stops here and it goes down below the baseline. And guess what? Now you have a baseline that's lower. You have a lower baseline. And so when your baseline goes lower, you start to feel shittier. This is why you feel like shit 24/7. And yeah, again, you do a 6-hour gaming session this time, and you eat junk food at the same time. Like that's really, really pleasurable, isn't it? And then like, oh yeah, like guys, I gotta log off. Like, yeah, I got school tomorrow. Yeah. Oh damn, I feel like shit after eating that packet. Yeah. And then it goes down again. And it just keeps going down and down and down. Till eventually your fat doctor tells you that you're depressed and you need some pills. It's really that simple. That's how it works. That's why you feel like shit 24/7. But when you do the good habits, when you do the hard things, it feels a little bit difficult, doesn't it? Like going to the gym, reading a book, recording a video, like meditating, like those things, they're kind of boring, aren't they? They're kind of difficult, like, aren't they? If you ever tried any of those things, they're really, really like basically just hard, aren't they? And so there's a little bit of a dip because it feels really, really hard afterwards whilst you're doing it. But how do you feel after? How do you feel after you've read a couple pages of a book? How do you feel after you've recorded a couple of videos? How do you feel after you go to the gym and you hit a good workout? How do you feel? You feel amazing about yourself, don't you? Why? Because you just put the effort in, you put the work in, you've improved your life, boom. It goes like this. And now your baseline is higher. Your baseline's higher than where it previously started. And then you go hit like a really, really hard leg day. Like that's really, really painful, isn't it? But then you build the muscle, you feel good about yourself, and then it goes higher and higher and higher. Do you see? Do you see what I mean here? Whereas when you do the shit habits, it just goes lower and lower and lower. And so you need to start doing the good things, because really, once you start doing that, once you start like living how a human is supposed to live, your baseline's gonna go higher and higher and higher until eventually you realize that like you didn't even need those fucking bullshit pills. You just needed to go outside and touch grass and do a couple push-ups. Like, you know, like when people say to depressed people, like, oh yeah, just be happy, bro. Just go outside, bro. Just exercise. Like, you know, like those people are seen as assholes, but like it's true. It is really that simple. Now, again, you're gonna cope. You're gonna have so many copes in your mind. It's like, oh no, but like my situation is different because of this thing and because of genetics and because of this thing and this thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. We're not special. You're not special. I'm not special. The reason why like so many people have been able to relate to this same message is because we're not special. If you look at a depressed person's life, like, do you really think a depressed person is going to be exercising and meditating and reading books and like training hard and like having a good social connection? Do you really think there's going to be people like that? Like, you can imagine like that person who exercises, who trains hard, who has like a good business, you know, who meditates, who does all these things, who has a good social life, like he has like a good family. Do you really think he's going to be depressed? Like, if a man, like if you can imagine someone living like a purposeful life like that, do you think they're going to be depressed? Fuck no. No, of course not. Who's more likely to be depressed? Like the guy who has a purpose in his life, who has a good family, good friends, who trains hard, who has like good mental health. Do you really think that guy is going to be depressed, or do you think it's going to be the video game drug addict who's in his room 24/7, who faps like 6 times a day, who eats shit food? Who is more likely to have depression? And don't cope here either. Don't say like, oh yeah, you know, but like, you know, there's millionaires who have depression. Like, yeah, of course there's millionaires who have depression. Of course, you know, there's world level athletes who have depression. Of course there is. I'm not saying there isn't, but outside of extreme cases, who's more likely to be depressed? It's the second guy, isn't it? It's the guy who doesn't have a purpose, who's not doing shit with his life. That guy is much more likely to be depressed than the guy who lives a purposeful life. And so right now, you just need to say, yep, you need to take some responsibility. Like take some responsibility for the first time in your life. Take like some ownership and say like, yep, I feel depressed because of the actions that I took, and I deserve those consequences. And I'm gonna do better. Boom. You say that, you're gonna make 100 times more progress than the other people who just cope and say like, oh no, because, you know, genetics and all this other bullshit. It is your fault. And you need to take responsibility for it. And if you just sat through this entire video, then you should be proud of yourself. If you take responsibility for this thing, you're already miles ahead of everybody else. And so you should feel extremely proud of that. You should feel really, really proud of that. Hope this video helped you, bro. Take care.